Well, hello, everyone. It's a brand new day, it's a brand new webinar today. And I can assure you this is going to be really interesting. It's going to be big because we are going to make a deep dive inside the VIROO XR infrastructure and how it operates at the back end. All the things that probably we haven't made a big focus in the past. If you remember, this series of webinars started long ago with a webinar where I explained what VIROO was, how you can create, manage, deploy XR content. But today I have a very special guest because we are going to go deeper. We are going to explain how everything works and why finally we have evolved the platform to become something that every organization across the globe can really integrate across all the organizations. So allow me to welcome Gaiska. How are you doing? Gaiska, it's your first webinar here. Please introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do at VirtualWare? And what would you expect from the webinar from today?
That's perfect. Thank you, Alberto. Thank you for the invitation today to collaborate in the webinar. As you said, it's my first one. Hope to be in lots of future ones with all of you. What I do, I'm a product manager right now in VirtualWare, and I mainly focus on managing every aspect of VIROO deployment, development, business-wise, etc. is ordered. So. And what's my expectation? No, my real expectation is something you have already said. It's like from that initial webinar, how we have evolved, how we have reached to a maybe more mature level for that enterprise grade. So how I would say, summarizing a lot, that most XR projects don't fail because of the experience. They fail because they don't fit the world of the enterprise IT. Security blocks it, I don't know, infrastructure rejects it, or simply it cannot scale beyond a pilot. That's what we would like to show people today, how we address those challenges.
You're right. We've been talking about that before, that we know that many companies have been using XR for the past 10 years. They normally make like POCs or like pilots in a specific place, and then when they've proven the value of XR, the challenge is to really deploy that across the organization, right? That's where IT comes in, the security blocks it, the infrastructure rejects it, and that's why they need to find a really professional solution that solves this problem. So that's what we are going to focus on today. Remember, I'm managing all the live, so I'm also on LinkedIn searching for comments. So if you want to put comments during the webinar, feel free to do that, and we will find a place in order to answer them, not only at the end, probably just between the slides. But the idea is for that, is to start presenting you what we are going to talk about today. So let me just unhide my presentation here. And we are going to be back and forth, Gaiska and I, explaining everything. But the idea is for you to have a better understanding of what VIROO is. We know it's an XR platform. It's a platform-first immersive infrastructure. But until now, we always talk about, as I said, about the surface, right? We didn't go deeper in the backend to show you how it really works and why it's really going to change how organizations work across the globe. So we define VIROO as an XR platform. And Gaiska, you are free to interrupt me whenever you think there's something more to improve on what I'm going to say. So we define VIROO as an XR platform. It's capable of providing a complete enterprise-grade architectural stack. So you can build faster, you can sterilize the process, and focus on value experience. This is really important because it's going to allow you to have real-time interactions across people across the globe. So it's multi-user and, of course, multi-location. And one experience can be deployed in any device. So you create ones, and you can deploy it on desktop VR, standalone, cave, one-to-one immersive spaces where you can move around, which is the best experience I think it is to experience XR. And these people can be joined in LDAP session, or you can have multiple sessions, right, going at the same time. But if people want to be in the same virtual space, you can, of course, do that no matter what device they are using. So it scales in demand. because you can start from small, just purchasing like 5 licenses. And once you're ready to scale and you want to incorporate more people across the globe, you can just purchase new license and they are going to be available for everyone. And everything is going to be controlled by a reliable system, right? So we also have like distinct architectures and deployments, because we provide public deployment, private deployment, cloud, on-premises. This is really important, and guys is going to talk about that later.
Yes.
But the important is, yeah.
Alberto, if you allow me, because you made a absolutely great introduction. At the end, you explained the stack. That's the important point behind that enterprise grade architectural stack, all the different stages. And I would summarize it like, somehow this is not an application. This is the infrastructure that allows XR to really exist in the enterprise. Instead of focusing on the experience, it's like focusing on making that experience deployable, governable, scalable. Let's be honest, we have also to focus on the experience itself. We have been delivering experiences our whole life, and that's why we ensure afterwards our platform is reliable. But now we need to focus on that, on making that experience deployable, governable, and scalable. That complete stack is that what lets companies focus on that specific topic. Yes. You made a great explanation of the complete set.
Yeah, I think it's important because over time, everything we build started to follow these 3 principles. We've been doing that from the very beginning, but we didn't explain that in a webinar like this. And this is important because we started developing content on demand for the first 15 years of the company. And then when we created VIROO, and started working with bigger clients such as GE Vernova or ADIF for the military institute in Spain, we understood what those requirements were, right? That they all want to work in controlled environments. They need to complain about all the IT and security of their organizations. And that's why we understood that VIROO need to go farther and really be a useful tool for these clients. So everything that we've been doing is going to be focused on these 3 main pillars, right? Which is digital sovereignty, operational resilience, and architectural independence. So the world we operate today, it's complex, as you said it, Gaiska. Honestly, sometimes even hard to explain, but for organizations, it's really not, right? It translates into really specific constraints. In our case, the story is of how control, resilience, and flexibility is like our mantra, really. And it became our platform's core foundations, which is the 3 ones that we are seeing. And why is that? Because we keep hearing the same things again and again. We can send this data to the cloud. We cannot depend on the internet. We can replace our systems. That's real problems that our clients have. So they need a tool that really understands these problems and solve and be a solution for them and not another headache, right? So these are not technical problems, as you say. Those are architectural constraints. And we feel that we weren't being addressed or matched properly until now. So maybe due to more global approaches or platforms or metaverse ideas, I don't know, don't take me wrong, I like those ideas to other spaces, but we really want to create a platform with these core foundations, right? I don't know if you want to explain
no, absolutely.
in more detail.
It's absolutely great explanation, Alberto. At the end, it's what you said. Somehow they are problems for the customer, I mean, but they are not technical problems. They are architectural constraints. So at the end, those are somehow, as you said, they weren't being addressed correctly. I don't know the reason. Probably I agree with you in that approach of maybe global metaverse or multiverse-like ideas, or I don't know, because I like those spaces also, but there was not maybe that focus on that, on being able to really join the value chain of the company, and we needed those three pillars somehow, and linked to what we said or you said before. So somehow digital sovereignty would be the control on data, on hardware, on backend, on identity. I don't know. The operational resilience would be to keep it working and ensuring everything or nothing is lost in any case something happens. And that architectural independence, I mean, it fits your world, your cloud, your space, your on-premises environment, your computer, your data center. It's about making it viable for those environments, I think.
I think that part of the problem is because we've been all blown away by XR and their possibilities, that many people just wanted to use it no matter how. And then again, they started to find these constraints, these issues, these problems, and they have not been able to scale until now. So again, that's why we have these core foundations right from the beginning, to be a really good base in order so you can create your content, upload it to wherever you want, or just keep it under control and connect people across the globe, but in a system that you know that is secure and is going to be stable during the play, during the phase that what you're doing.
We have seen some of those escalations. Alberto, sorry to interrupt you again, but we have seen some of those escalations based on proofs of concepts or minimum viable products, and at the end it's an absolute mess. You can address it once, but if you have 4 like those, 5 like those, it's a complete absolute mess. Distinct technologies, distinct services, distinct ways in which to develop each idea. Something like this was something we think the market was asking for somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's how those foundations are delivered in the VIROO platform, right? We use 3 simple layers, which are services, players, and studio. And if you want, you can even think it if like a movie. We create in the studio, then the services coordinate everything behind the scenes. You are not noticed about that. And then we have players that where the users are going to experience the content, right? So it's like having Netflix, Paramount, and all the platforms, but they are controlled, they are secure, and they are, of course, enterprise ready. It's an enterprise-ready platform, and of course, without the Hollywood drama, everything that's going on. So this is really, really ready to do real business. And talking about services, we provide multi-user, of course. We have sessions. We provide all the orchestration, the authentication, the RBAC integrations, and all those are going to be deployed by the players. We have different programs that are going to be launched in different devices. So we have the desktop player, because we still know not many people still have VR headsets. So we don't want to leave that people behind. We want that people to be able to join these sessions and even be interactive. It's not a passive experience. So we have the desktop player. We have the desktop VR player. If you have a powerful computer, you can connect your headset and join in a one-to-one scale. We have even standalone VR player. So if you want to deploy your content, but you don't own a powerful computer, you can just create an APK, install it in your headset, and join the same sessions. And of course, my favorites, which is the immersive room players, the caves, domes, igloos, planetariums. Basically, we are compatible with the best immersive solutions out there, the ones that organizations are already using or have been using in the past. And we are even using old systems like caves and domes that probably were left behind, and now we can revitalize those in order to be part of VIROO. And finally, of course, one of my favorites again, VIROO Studio. VIROO Studio is the content creation tool, and it provides a high-level API, so you can access the VIROO services. And in my case, I always say that I'm not a programmer myself, so I don't really know how to do many of these complex interactions, but it provides a low-code interaction system. So we have dozens and dozens of VIROO interactions components where you can, by a system of drag and drop, you can add it to the game objects, and it's going to work just fine. So you can be creating multi-user, multi-device experiences without you worrying about it. You just focus on creating the content. And we even go beyond that, because now we are providing templates for key use cases. So it even streamlines more the content. If you want to create this kind of assembly sequence or build review use cases, you can even go faster than before. So together, these 3 layers and taking foundation as a basis, they create a system where you can build, deploy, and operate XR like any other enterprise capability. So this is the important thing. So talking about services, guys, where we can provide our clients regarding about that.
I think you did a great introduction. I don't know if it's worth it, as we are going to see them later on.
Yep.
But summarizing what you explained, it's the phrase you used for the slide itself. So an structured XR platform where services operate, players execute, and a studio enables creation. So we talked about maybe architectural concerns before, or structure, or infrastructure, and this is how we enable them. The biases, I don't know, in which we drive them. So it's perfect. In terms of services, identity, sessions, networking, I don't know, documentation is even there. Our packages for distinct 3D engines. In terms of players, everything you said. As we try to work on a device agnostic execution layer, integrating industrial grade devices, integrating industry standards like OpenXR, etc., in which it takes to direct a VR or HMD reproduction. And one of the bases, you already explained it, VIROO wouldn't be possible without VIROO Studio. So if we want to integrate VIROO in every company's value chain, we have to give them approaches exactly like you explained. Low code, being able to understand, process-related, understandable with a flow, so they can apply them to their processes. So yes, I don't know, nothing more to say here, Alberto. Great introduction.
Yeah, of course. This is some of the services that the platform provides, and many of them we have already covered them. And you pointed out something that I haven't mentioned. We have like a 3-structured video that we are going to show, so you can see in real time how all these services are being called, and they act as the user just transparently use the platform, and you can see everything that's going behind. But you are going to see in real time how the centralized XR operation control, the multi-user real-time engine, how you can connect with external hardware in order to improve your content. And we're going to show that later. But again, the message here today that I wanted you to keep is that security built into architecture is not an add-on up top. Okay, so VIROO is focused on providing all this content, but in a really secure and reliable way. So all these features only matter if they can operate securely, because there are really constraints in enterprise that are going to ask for these kind of requirements. So that's why VIROO is part of the architecture itself. It's just going to be another tool inside your organization. It's not going to be another mess to deal with. So again, you're all going to have like containerized service isolation, zero trust architecture, what I mentioned before, the RBAC, it is role-based access control. So you can decide which user access to which kind of features, and maybe they can have access to launch sessions and control them, and other users just can join and experience the content. It's enterprise identity integration, so we can integrate with different services. And we have segmented network communication and full auditability. I don't know, guys, if you want to go more in detail on that.
I can give you a hand with this. I let you explain the most complex of the 3 columns, and you did it incredibly right, I have to say. And at the end, jokes apart, as you said, all the features we will see afterwards, but all the structure we already talked about, all the architectural constraint we needed to match are not possible without having a really, I don't know, even a passionate idea of security. And we think that addressing security means addressing these 3 pillars, addressing architecture of the product somehow, that security by design, addressing process with that DevSecOps and lifecycle, how we do things further than the product itself, even in the company somehow, and addressing compliance. That compliance may be just a final aspect, that it's just a conclusion of the first 2, but those are absolutely mandatory for the place in which we are positioning VIROO and the enterprise grade customers we have. So as I said, you did a great explanation with the initial column. That's related to product, as you said. Just to mention some of them, like interesting ones. For example, the zero trust architecture. VIROO's services only communicate between them, not even with the customers, if they are authenticated through HTTPS, etc. Containerized architecture, being able to replicate it, backups. At the end, what a important and platform from the aspect of its architectural security itself needs to have. The line regarding the process, I'm not going to go in each of them, but at the end, I would summarize it in a DevSecOps strategy across all the life cycle, because at the end, automated vulnerability testing, securing the pipeline, I don't know, making vulnerability or stride analysis or pen testing activities, as we do lots of them, are all of them linked to that, I would say, DevSecOps strategy. And at the end, the conclusion or the output of doing all that, you get somehow those firms, those compliances, those certifications that also are important to address both your product or your platform and your company.
Yep, exactly. And I've mentioned this before, but I think this is one of the key features as well, or one of the most requested features by these clients that really normally work in highly restrictive environments, or they highest demands of security, which is how you deploy, right? So where the content is stored. So we can go from. You want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Please, Alberto, no, go on. I'll help you. You can do the introduction, and I'll follow up.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah, Gaiska is the IT guy, so I can explain everything like in the surface, but he wants to go deeper. That's the one thing that we need to do, and that's why here's today. So what I was saying is, we have like different cloud deployments options. So we can deploy it in your cloud, our cloud, any cloud, and we can even deploy it on premises and even in full air gap environments. This is really great because you don't have any connection at all to the internet, and we have like different licenses plans that we are going to talk at the end regarding this option. But the one thing is that VIROO is designed to operate across all levels of isolation. And you can just choose whatever fits your organization best, because every organization is different. And in many cases, different parts of the same organization even have different requirements. You can have like an office in one country that can be connected to the internet, but then a more restricted team that is working in new stuff that can be shown, and they need like total isolation. So we can adapt to wherever the client needs. And even in some cases, cloud makes perfect sense because it provides scalability, speed, if deployment. But in others, you want control, you want integration or security constraints that require something very different. And that's why we provide these different cloud approaches. So you choose the environment, not the platform, right? That's what everything is regarding these cloud deployment options. I don't know if you want to explain anything more about it, or we can just go.
No. You did it absolutely great. Thank you.
Okay. This is the one that we are probably going to be back and forth, because this is a really interesting slide, and it's regarding the whole value chain of a company, right? This is one of the things that I love XR, because it's a technology and a tool that can really be applied to everything, right? XR is not the value. The value is where XR really connects. So on its own, an immersive experience is just a moment, but when it connects to your systems, to your processes and your data, it becomes part of the business. It's as easy as that. So from design to engineering to training to operations or even customer experience, we have Gaiska clients that, like GE Vernova, that they purchased the platform because they wanted to train their people, because training is like the most obvious use case of XR. But then once they own the platform, they started spreading across different teams, because they know that the content can be shown in the marketing team to sell the products, and even in the previous versions, in the process of designing those nuclear reactors, they can even be shown in virtual reality to improve the design process. So that's the good thing, that VIROO sits across the entire flow, connected immersive experiences to the enterprise value chain. So, for example, imagine you have like a training session. It's not just a training session anymore, because it generates data, right? Do you want to go further in the data segment that it really escapes my knowledge?
No, but it's exactly that. At the end, in any stage, we can go afterwards deep in the platform itself as the capabilities of the monitoring tools integrated in VIROO. But as you were saying, in terms of the experience, at the end, the limit is exactly the space of the process you are showing us, the design, simulation, training, I don't know, even promotion, as you mentioned in GH. They started from a more, I would say, maybe operation training approach. And afterwards, they have used for promotion, and they are starting to use it in the design stage at the beginning. So the key point there, it's the linkage to the data that flows in the process. But following your example, I would say think on a training session that generates data. That data is able to feed the operation itself, the daily operation. That is able. People is able to use it for decisions. I don't know, training, improvement both in the process or on the application bill. And with all that, you are like closing the loop in each of the stages. So no, it's I think I wouldn't even bother the data itself. It's also absolutely key. But I bother the integration of processes because data will flow afterwards.
Yeah, this
I mean,
is
the
very
engineer
interesting because
already knows. Sorry, Alberto, like the engineer already knows which data he needs to focus on somehow. Let's help him fit that XR flow somehow with that data. Sorry
exactly.
for
What I was What I was going to say is that I've been to a lot of events where clients approach and they tell us their requirements, and they normally this is good because they ask for something. No, we understand or we explain how they can build these experiences, and one of the first questions they ask is, where do I obtain the 3D models? How do I obtain these 3D models? And I always say, probably your design team already have those. This is the data that they already have, so you can just ask the design team for those and then be used by the training team. And this is really great because once one of your teams is already using XR, the rest of the teams are going to want to use it because they know this is a powerful tool and they're going to provide really value to their team. So it's going to naturally spread across the organization without needing to do anything else.
No, absolutely. So, and sorry, and because you hit that very important point in which, and you are linking it with one of the origins of truth in the company. The initial design, the initial of the process, the initiate stage of the product, and you are doing it with enterprise grade tools. And from now on, as you said, for that specific moment, you are going to be able to fit all the processes. So you are part of that digital thread, but integrated somehow, as you had in the previous slide, integrated, governed, and scalable. That's key. How you close that final loop to the process. Apologies for interrupting again, Alberto.
That's why you are here. So interrupt me as much as you want, guys. So basically, we talk about Services Players Studio. We're going to go a little bit deep on that. And again, we have like a more visual video to show you later before, so you can understand how it works. But what you need to understand is that VIROO services are organized with listed enterprise pain points, right? It's a list of a small list of services mentioned there before. And when we evaluate XR, people usually ask about the experiences, right? How does it work? How does it scale? Can IT control it? Can we deploy it? This is all real questions and real pains that teams inside organizations have. And we designed VIROO and all their services addressing these kind of questions, these as of complaints and real issues that real use persons and people have inside organizations. And that's why, from the experience and execution, the platform core, the governance and control infrastructure, everything is built up across this kind of people that need to have this solution in order to really finally deploy XR inside your organization.
I like.
This is the video I was. Go ahead.
Yes, if you can go back just to summarize, because you made a great explanation. To summarize it in a phrase, so these big areas in which services are somehow ordered, just a small list of them. At the end, they try to focus what companies address, like you said it. We are evaluating XR. We usually think on experience. Does it work?
Yeah.
But do we think in core? Does it scale? Do we think in governance? Can IT or, I don't know, whoever has to control it? And infrastructure, can we deploy it? If we are talking enterprise, if one fails, the project fails. So that's at the end the core of this idea of structuring those areas, and the core of what VIROO services are giving each company, local, private, cloud, whatever. Go on, please, Alberto.
Yeah, I'm going to try to highlight now the presentation in order to the video to be displayed properly. So this is the video we were talking about, and what you are going to see is the user experience, how a user launches different VIROO services while he is just creating sessions, joining session, and interacting. So at first, we have here the VIROO players. This, in particular, in the video is the single player, but you see at the right that the license service is activated. This in this case, it only applies to the room player. So the organizations that have like a large-scale immersive room, it's linked to a service licenses. So it's not happening in the case of the single player, but this is me just from my home accessing the single player. And the first thing I need to do is to log in with my credentials. So at the moment that I'm accessing with my credentials, you can see at the right that the identity services is being launched. So all these services are the backend of VIROO, and they are being launched whenever the user accesses some of them. So we can have the ability to join a session or create a session. As you can see, the identity service and the session services has just launched, because you are just a person with specific credentials inside the platform, and you can access different VIROO sessions that can be already running, or you can deploy it wherever you want. If you access to select an app that you want really to deploy and create a session with it, of course, the content service is going to be called. So in this case, you have access to your cloud, to our cloud, to wherever your content is being stored. This is all the applications that we have developed in VirtualVerse. So I just select the demos app, and I'm going to create that session. At the moment I create a session, it's going to load the content. Then I can share this ID with Gaiska or with whatever I want it to. It's just like an ID, unique ID that I can share, or I can even share a link invite that works like Teams. You just press on the link and it's going to open single player for you. And then, of course, I can join the session. Whenever I join the session, I have the option to join it using, again, a VR headset connected to my laptop. Or in this case, what I'm going to do is just use the keyboard and mouse. Again, we are not leaving that people behind, the ones that haven't have a headset yet. So you just connect to the experience, and as you can see, two more systems have just those: the analytics system, the analytics services in this case, and of course the network service. Once you join a session, all the network is being established, and the people can join the session, and every interaction that you are going to do is going to be replaced or even shown in the rest of the devices as well. You can even change the scenes. In this case, we open the menu. We have the different scenes that are deployed in this application itself. And then if I choose, in this case, the jet engine, and every user that is inside with me in this session is going to be teleported to these new experiences. So this is the power of VIROO, that you are just using the platform as a regular user, and you don't need to worry about this complexity, how all these services are being launched whenever you do some specific task inside. So again, this is like all transparent to the user, and you are enjoying multi-user XR, multi-device applications in a really, really easy way, but it's all supported by a backbone which is really secure and really, really matches all those security risks and complaints that all the organizations have. So I'm going to highlight the presentation right now, because we're moving to a new slide. We have, again, different features that these services provides. The VIROO players, in this case, you have multi-device access. Okay, so run immersive content across desktop VR, standalone, the ones that I already mentioned. You can, of course, have a consistent user experience across environments. This is really good, because sometimes you have like compatibility with different hardware, but the experience is really different from one to another. So in this case, no matter if I want to join using the single player and the next day I want to use my headset, the experience is really consistent across all this hardware. Everything, of course, is going to be secure. So you have secure content delivery. If you want to go ahead, guys, on some of them,
No,
again, feel free to
absolutely.
interrupt me.
I can follow up with a couple of them, a bit more security-related ones. But as we said before, at the end, everything needs to be securized from the controlled access and authentication, from the sessions themselves, from the content, not only delivery, even the storage, even the creation. Right now, we are working also in content, additional content ciphering options in our DevSecOps roadmap. So you said almost everything in our previous slides. Our hardware agnostic approach, as much as possible, of course, but always working with the highest or openest standards, and always focusing on giving value to the customers. As you explained before, for example, reintroducing caves in some cases, for example. So I don't know, the offline capability is also important, both from on-premises perspective, I would say, of the whole platform, but also the offline capability of the immersive players themselves, of specific immersive rooms, caves, etc. At the end, this governance also somehow releases or enables infrastructure management at the level you want, on-premises, private cloud, or handled by ourselves. The update capability also linked to this deployment model somehow. That's also limited to the customer. So sometimes we say future-proof, but it's truth that lots of those sectors, we were talking about this the other day, Alberto, for example, military or even healthcare, sometimes they need a system that won't change in 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a bit strange to talk about this for myself as I would say, IT-related person, no? And how technology evolves, even the technology we are handling right now. But yeah, it's true at the end. It's very strict and very segmented and very specific, and we need to match it. So at the end, these features round up all that solution and make it integrable in those spaces.
Yeah, I really like what you say about that is future-proof, because we are talking about XR. We know that we are using headsets, we are using large-scale immersive room. This is technology that is brand new, not brand new. We know it's been around since the 80s, but headsets are still big. They are still, they weigh a lot. And we know they are going to evolve really rapidly in the next coming 5 to 10 years. So once a new headset comes along that is higher, better picture quality, it's really more secure, or I don't know why, with many more features, you need to know that it's going to work with your platform, that you haven't married with a platform that is only compatible with a specific hardware. So that's good that you just own VIROO, but whenever a new headset comes along, you can just implement that and integrate that into VIROO. So that's one of the things I like most, because we know that XR is going to really change in the upcoming years. So this is what all this seamless multi-device deployment is all about. So you can have large-scale spaces. In fact, these VIROO rooms look a lot different today from what they do 5 years ago. We use our own tracking technology with backpacks in the back, with headsets that were not as powerful as they are today. Now we're using this new version because we can adapt. We can adapt as technology evolves, and we can, of course, are compatible with every OpenXR headset. The Galaxy XR we just launched, it's not even available in everyone in the world. It's already compatible with VIROO. And we are even resurrecting old systems like Cave System, Igloo, Desktop. Again, for the people that doesn't have the headset, everyone can join in the same session and enjoy what VIROO provides. And this part of the video shows that, how these users can be just gathering in the same environment. In this case, they are from a VIROO room. They can see each other. We can have full control from a desktop player without a headset. And all the services, you can see those here at the right, are still running. You can join. You can change the scenes. Every interaction is going to be connected through the network. We have the analytics service, identity, content. Everything is being worked for you, so you don't need to worry about it. You just select your hardware, connect to the session, and just gather in the same environment. So this is really, really a transparent way to enjoy XR. And then finally, with the VIROO Studio, which is the content creation part. This is the one that I normally use more because I want to create content with VIROO, and I create all these tutorials that are available in the documentation we are going to show now. And what you need to understand is that Unity Studio, it's a way in order to create content without being worrying about this network, this multi-device, and it avoids vendor lock-in because you can create your own content, you can rely that to us, or you can rely that to a third party. The important thing is that whenever you are creating a content, imagine that you don't want to use VIROO anymore from 10 years from now, you still have your content. And you can even, of course, you have to substitute all the network interactions. If you can go, Gascat, sorry, because I'm leaving my voice apart. And then I will catch it up, sorry.
Absolutely. You already explained about the 3D engine development, the abstraction. At the end, the cross-platform content creation. The idea we already explained, being able to deploy in all the different types of players we just talked about. Those integrated platform services, we already talked about this, what the platform grants, so related to sessions, related to that content processing, storage management, related to networking. We talked about that synchronization in terms of session consumption. I don't know, regarding the rapid iteration and testing, that's interesting also from the VIROO Studio perspective. We could talk about the toolboxes, the dashboards, all the tooling, all the samples, all the packages that we use in order to I think, Alberto, I know you are going to show us some of these later on.
Yeah.
So I didn't know where to stop.
Yeah, sorry. I just stopped because my voice was hurting. But of course, all these services are going to make a lot more sense when you see it in action. But the one thing you need to understand as well is that no matter what kind of developer you are, you can find like three different creation approaches that we provide. The first is the VIROO interaction system. All these components that I mentioned before, these are C# scripts already developed and tested many times by us that are already compatible with the platform. So you can have actions for change an avatar, rotate an object, scale an object, play a video, an instruction, everything that you normally would need in order to create this kind of experiences is going to be there. In case you want to go farther, you want to create variables like different nodes, you can use Unity Visual Scripting. This is a more advanced system, but it's still no-code interaction system, so you don't need to program everything or know everything about C#, but it's going to give you more powerful in order to create more high experiences or more complex experiences. And of course, if you are an advanced programmer,
so sometimes even, Alberto, linked to those enterprise-grade users who understand flows, etc., they could be more keen on understanding one of these visual scripting flows.
Exactly. And finally, if you are an advanced developer, of course, you can create your own C# scripts. And the best thing is that you can combine these three. So you can solve most of the interactions with the VIROO interaction system. If you want to develop a specific use case, you can go to the Unity Visual Scripting. And if you want to create a new action, you can just code it by yourself. And being in this case, we're going to show you VIROO running on VIROO Studio for Unity. The best thing about being compatible with Unity is that everything you can do in Unity is going to be compatible with VIROO. So if you want to just use a plugin that allows you to connect to a hardware specific or a robot or a PLC, whatever normally works in Unity is going to just work fine in VIROO Studio. Regarding Unity specific, we've been working really hard for the past years to provide these kind of tools that really eases the content creation process. So we have a high-level API for service accesses. We have predefined assets, which has these low-code interactions, and the templates that I mentioned before. In this case, these are the templates that we are working on with the assembly sequence, the Beam review, even the AI template, which the last webinar was about, and is going to be available soon. So you can have like AI agents inside your content, and you can ask questions. You can spawn new objects by demand using your voice. So this is really great. And of course, what I mentioned before, the integration capacity, so that you can integrate with almost anything, and all these automated validations prior to publication. So the project itself is going to allow you to publish your content, ensuring that you have no issues at all. So this is what is shown in the video. We have, of course, full documentation on how to do everything in VIROO Studio for Unity. And of course, you can access the documentation service whenever you want. You have step-by-step instructions. We even have VIROO Academy with tutorials. And you can access the web. You can download VIROO Studio or any template for free. And you can just start creating content even without purchasing a license. And you can test it in 2D or in VR. These are the 3 templates that we have. I'm going to open the assembly sequence template in this case, which is one of my favorites. And you are going to see, I didn't want it to speed up this part because I wanted for you to really see how much time you need to invest in order to create some basic interactions and really start creating like a training process. So in this case, we have this panel, which is called the assembly parts editor. I just selected a part from the engine, push a button, which is create a new assembly part. And now I'm selecting where I want this piece to start. I just create a target, which is the place that I want to place this specific piece in the process. And then if I want to go up and down that, I can select like the sequence manager, which I'm going to add this particular step to a sequence. So I need to ensure that my users go through this process in a specific way, and I can even gather that data before. So I just select the place cover step, which is going to be the first step in my sequence. And then I'm going to create different grabbable parts. I have even prefabs inside the project. So these are audio completions, clickable completions, videos, triggers to select where the user is going to be. So I can add like an audio instruction, because this is really good to have in XR. So the user pumps in the experience and you welcome him with an audio instruction and tell him what to do. I'm going to add a video at the end. So whenever the user completes all the assembly sequence process, is going to be shown a video with maybe how the engine works. In this case, it's just like a basic video, but it can be whatever you want, because this is Unity. And again, you can just load all the multimedia you want. I'm adding this trigger, which is going to detect the player when it starts the training. So whenever it reaches this specific position in the environment, it's going to launch the instruction, and then it's going to allow him to start grabbing the pieces and placing those. So in this case, you can see how I select new pieces, how I make them grabbable. I select the start position, and then whenever I launch the single player, this is a mock-up of the single player working inside Unity. So as you can see, we have the network service being called, because everything that you are testing in VIROO Studio is going to replicate whenever you want to launch that in a real session. So you really are testing the content, how it's going to look at the end. I'm triggering the trigger, I'm receiving the instruction, I'm grabbing the pieces. Everything you've seen, I didn't have to code anything at all. I just grab a game object, select or click on a specific button, and I'm creating these interactions without worrying about the multi-user, the multi-device. And I'm just have like a small training pill with videos, without instructions. And this is the best part of this template, which every step is being registered and which time is being completed and which user has completed that. So this is information that I can gather in order to improve my trainings. And finally, if I am happy with the content, I can just open the VIROO dashboard. I just pressed the end of the video. I can access my credentials right from VIROO Studio for Unity, so I can connect with the cloud where my content is. As you can see, the identity service is being called here. Then I log in and I can just build my application, or right from the VIROO Studio, I can build it and upload it to my content. So in this case, I build and upload. And as you can see, more services are going to be called. In this case, the content services, which is going to check the content that is already available in the cloud, and is going to just be available for all the organization without having me to contact everyone and sending the app itself. So it's going to be available for everyone. I think it's a really amazing way to create XR, and really approaches this kind of content creation to many more profiles inside an organization. Again, I'm not a programmer, and I'm be able to create these powerful applications just in a couple of minutes. And now, of course, the plans. Guys, how about the plans? What we are offering our clients?
You can go to the next one, Alberto.
Yep.
I'm going to go really simple. I'm not good talking about money. So at the end, let's explain how everything we have talked about it's afterwards structured in order to drive this value to the customer themselves. So at the end, we can start from the deployment model itself. We talked about it before, the different environments in which we can deploy in a public cloud environment, what we call a shared cloud. What we can deploy in a public cloud environment, but in a dedicated environment for one customer, what we call corporate, and what we can deploy both in an on-premises RBAC, as we talked about before, or private cloud environment, what we call on-premises. In terms of deployment model, that's what we would address. In terms of licensing, we have licenses split in two main areas. Our users, our final users using a device. You talked about them before, Alberto, a standard device, a single player, maybe I don't know, and sorry, also our immersive installation licenses. Those would apply to our immersive rooms, to caves, domes, igloos. We also talked about them before. In the enterprise and education market and corporate markets, our user licenses are floating licenses, concurrent users accessing the platform. In our on-premises customers, as their licenses is perpetual, their user licenses are also node-locked. In terms of immersive installations, caves, rooms, etc., as they do have a more specific hardware, a more specific way of operating, integrating, etc., we operate with node-locked licenses in every environment, enterprise, corporate, and on-premises. And a small gap mention related to the storage itself, but as you can imagine, both in corporate, single tenant environments and on-premises environments, this can be easily changed also for specific education or enterprise cases. And a simple detail regarding our company-grade integrations, our customizations, etc., in which in those cases are principally limited to corporate and on-premises plans. Mentioning that the support itself also works with this same structure, having a standard, a premium, or an optional support structure in our on-premises plan. But we try, at the end, trying to keep it very simple. Deployment related, afterwards license related, and customizations limited mainly to the corporate and on-premises environments.
Yeah, it's nice. I think that the key take to bring home is that all the flexibility that we have in the content creation side, in the deployment side, even in the plan side, as you can see, VIROO is very flexible, but it's ready to scale, and it's secure and really ready to integrate it in our organization. By the way, we have a comment. We have a fan of VIROO Studio because Matthews in the chat has just commented, VIROO Studio opens up a universe of endless possibilities. And I agree, but I will abandon that. It's not only an endless possibilities. We are talking, and this is all this webinar is all about, we are talking about how XR is even possible or not inside our organization. This is not talking about all the amazing things that you can do in XR. It's talking about if it is really possible to integrate XR in your organization. Many people are excited about XR, me the first, but you need a system that really can be integrated inside your organization. Because if not, it doesn't matter how cool and how powerful XR it is if it's not going to be able to integrate inside all your processes without messing everybody's mind in the process. So I think that was like a really good picture of what VIROO is, not only from the surface, again, which is what I made in the first webinar of this series, but going deep in the tech side with guys talking about how everything works, how every service is being launched whenever the user makes some specific step, and how can VIROO Studio leverage all these kind of services whenever you are creating content in a really easy way. So guys, I think that's everything for my part. We have no more comments. Let me refresh the page because sometimes, I don't know, I'm not getting the latest comments. But I think for now, Matthews is the one excited with this. I don't know if you want to say anything else, but I think we have many more webinars upcoming, which are really exciting. So just keep updated on that.
Absolutely.
Any
completely
final thoughts, guys?
I completely agree with you. I liked the video you made showing and alarming the distinct services to make people understand what's behind the magic somehow. And exactly as you said, we'll try to deep down later. We have 45 minutes. There is a lot to talk in detail about architecture, more than open to share documentation, lots of things. We talked about certifications, etc., and absolutely, it's been a pleasure. And more than happy to help you talk about these sometimes maybe not so amazing things, but very, very important and key. As we said before, if one fails, everything fails.
Yeah, so I agree with you. It may not seem amazing visually, but I think it's even more amazing when you thought how complex it is to really build a platform like VIROO. So again, thanks everyone for coming. This video is going to be available later on YouTube. So if you have any doubts, any comments, you can reach for us wherever you want, and just subscribe to the VIROO page, because we are making more webinars and explaining all the services that are going to come and all the new features that we are going to provide during this year. And it's been a pleasure. Thanks, guys, for coming, and we'll see you in the next webinar. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.